Okay, now what we're going to be using today are these prosthetic horns that I bought at Zurcher's party store here, and as you can see I filled them with cotton to give them a bit more stabilization. Now these were actually pretty cheap. I'm going to be sticking them on about right there. I'm going to be using liquid latex for this because it's a lot cheaper and more versatile than spirit gum, which is what a lot of people would use this for. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this liquid latex here. This is also pretty cheap. I also got it at the same store. Yeah, and then we're also going to be using like makeup sponges. And what we're going to go ahead and do with that, put that on the forehead right there, where you're going to put the horns on. You can buy liquid latex in bigger bottles, but most costume shops won't have that unless it's around Halloween, and you're going to have to special order them. And this one doesn't take a lot, so I don't need a lot for that. So once you're done with applying liquid latex, you're going to stick on the horn there, really nice and even. Make sure it's all the way down. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take some cotton balls, and you're going to tear them off into little tiny strips like that. And you're going to start layering them around the base of the horn. And what this is going to do is this is going to create a flush look. It's going to look like they're coming directly out of the skin, instead of just sitting on top. And this is going to actually look pretty good when we're done. But for now, just tear off the little cotton wads and stick them around the horns. This is why you want to get the area more saturated in liquid latex than you did before, so that they'll stick down really easy. Make sure to cover around the entire horn and push it down so that it's almost flat against it, but don't drag it down away from the horn. Then what you're going to want to do after that, then you're going to go ahead and put liquid latex on it. Just saturate the whole thing with liquid latex. I don't recommend using the makeup sponges for this because we are working with cotton, and cotton is going to get caught in the sponges and it is going to look absolutely terrible. So go ahead and use your fingers for this. Liquid latex will stick to your fingers, but we'll take care of that later. Now just go ahead and saturate the cotton, get as much liquid latex on top of the cotton as you can. But it's always better to use more than not enough. And don't worry, liquid latex always comes out white. But don't worry about that because we're going to cover it up with makeup later anyway. And honestly, it's always easier when it comes to makeup to go darker and start lighter and go darker than it is to do the reverse. So go ahead and get that saturated in there. There we go. See that? Alright. Now as I said before, your hands are going to get very dirty, so what we're going to do is we are going to clean them using the baby wipes that we mentioned at the beginning of the tutorial. Now these are great. I get them at the dollar store. They come in I think 20 or 32 a pack, and they are great for cleaning off makeup and liquid latex and other things like that. They are fantastic for that because you don't need to go to the sink and wash your hands every single time. So just get the liquid latex off of them. I recommend doing this in between each horn. That way when you pick up the cotton to put it around the second horn, you're not going to get the cotton stuck to your fingers and make a big mess. So go ahead and get those clean, and then we can start on the other horn. You're going to want to get the horns as symmetrical as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on there as symmetrically as possible. Same method, I'm going to put down liquid latex on the forehead. Liquid latex applied directly to the forehead. And then we're going to stick the horn on top of that. And we're going to go around that in the cotton. And then push the cotton down so that it's flush with the head. And then we're going to saturate the cotton. And what this is going to create a lump look around it that looks like it's poking out from under your skin, which is a really nice effect. Okay, now that that's done, we're going to wait for it to dry. Now you're going to want to wait for it to dry for a good 10 to 15 minutes. That's how long liquid latex usually takes to dry. And while you're at it, go ahead and clean off your hands again. And once we let it dry, we can start putting makeup on it to blend it in with the skin and make it look more natural. Because, you know, right now it looks absolutely terrible. So, I'm going to let you go here, and we'll be back in a few moments to go ahead and start putting the makeup on. Okay, now the liquid latex has dried. It's going to get a little bit tacky and look a bit better. As you can see, some of the thinner layers have turned clear. It will turn clear after a while. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take a foundation makeup. This one is actually very light. I ordered it via eBay from a company in China. They make some very good cosmetics, but the packaging is crap, so I wouldn't recommend them. I'd recommend just going to your local dollar store and getting some if you can. Every time I go there, they don't have it in the right shade, but you know, give it a chance. But yeah, go ahead and apply that on top of the cotton and around your forehead. And once that's applied there, as you can see, it's a lot lighter than the skin tone, but that's okay. Like I said earlier, it's much better to go lighter and get darker than it is to start out dark and go light. Once we're done with that, we're going to go over it with a liquid makeup. This is a color that's closer to my skin color. It's hard to find this one. This is the one I really like because it's one of the closest they have to my skin color. Like I said, the dollar store is rarely has any in my skin color. So I'm just going to go around that and cover up everything that I covered up with the first shade of makeup. It's going to make it look a lot darker. There we go. And just go around there. You can use the makeup sponges for this. I'm just going to use my fingers in this because, you know, there's not really that much difference. If you prefer to use your fingers for stuff like this, go ahead. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to darken up that makeup a bit. I'm going to use an eyeshadow actually, because again, they didn't have any darker shades, any dark enough shades to match my skin tone. So this is the closest I can get, and I just have to make that a little bit darker. So I'm going to use a slightly darker eyeshadow there, and for this one I'm going to use this sponge that came with it, because when it comes to eyeshadow, that's really the best to use. And I'm just going to go around there and darken it up a little bit, and blend that out a little bit so that it doesn't look like doesn't look all that bad. Go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to move on to a larger brush. What this is this is a blush brush. I've also heard it referred to as a kabuki brush. And what it is, it's basically designed to take a lot of makeup really quickly and put it on and blend it out. So, and that's basically what you're doing with this. And you're going to be using the same eyeshadow with this. Or if you can find a powder makeup in your skin tone, that would be best too. The dollar store usually has compact powder makeup that will fit a lot of different skins, but for some reason my shade is never in stock. So I'm going to go ahead and go over that with the kabuki brush here. Alright. Personally, I like the term kabuki brush better than blush brush. I don't know why. Anyway, once that's done, you are pretty much done with the makeup here. Now, as you can see, mine is not the cotton that I originally had on there is not entirely flush. Yeah, you see there's that big lump there. It's going to be entirely flush when I get there. You see that side panel there, that little side bit there? Yeah, right there. That is what you're going for. You don't want to make it look that flush with your skin. But since this is just a tutorial, I'm not going to take the extra effort and go really... I will do a full review of my look that I'm going to be using these for. I'm going to be using these for a Renaissance Festival. Well, Renaissance Festival and Fantasy Fair. I'm going as a satyr. And when that happens, I'm going to go really, really flush with the horns and not have a big lump like that on there. But for the purposes of just a basic tutorial, to give you the idea, I think it's fine for now. But I'm going to do a full tutorial of the satyr makeup later on. Satyr makeup and costume later on, and I'll show you, and I'll get it fully flush and matte and for the Renaissance Fair. But for now, I think this is good. I think it looks fine. And as you can see, it looks really good. So I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.
I sing of the tales of the wanderer, the rider of Yggdrasil. He gave up and I into Mimir's well, where deep